Hey, what is going on? Good people, listen here. I got something for you today. This a little special. It's a little special. Extra, extra. Read all about it. Well, actually, you're just going to listen. But I got something special for y'all today. What I am going to do is I'm going to react to a video that really touched me in my heart, like in a real way. And this video is actually an older version of me. See, the man that I used to be had opinions. He had perspectives. And I believe a limited perspective will produce unlimited assumptions. However, an unlimited perspective will produce an accurate understanding, at least. So I am going to react to this video that really means a lot to me because it is dealing with a topic that I believe needs to be discussed, and that is boundaries, but from a different angle. It's called hurt versus harm. And in this one, we're going to talk about harm. So sit back, relax, and grab some snacks because I think this is about to take you back. Here is my video of hurt versus harm. Hey, what's going on, y'all? If you're watching this video, you made it to yet the end of another week. That means you're still here. And I just want to tell you, you're not tripping. See, last week we dealt with hurt versus harm. And I more so dealt with hurt. But this time, I want to talk about harm. So many of us have found ourselves in circumstances that we don't want to be in. It starts up here because of the effects that took place right here. Last video, we had a conversation about hurt versus harm. And we discussed how hurt is temporary. When it happens, it's something that you go through and then you get over. But see, harm is when hurt was done to the level or degree of where damage was caused. And when damage takes place, you are now dealing with something that you didn't ask for. See, damage and trauma is where hurt becomes harm. Once harm becomes a part of your mentality, you begin to feel as if you are damaged goods based off of something that happened to you that you never counted on happening. We all go through life with a mindset of what we think we want, what we know we want, how we feel, how we desire to feel, how we desire not to feel, and all of these things. But let's be very honest right now. When you are feeling down in the dumps, it typically comes from a place of sadness due to actions that have taken place in the past. You may have been triggered because of something that happened to you yesterday, or 3 years ago, or 10 years ago, 20 years ago, whatever the case. You might find yourself dealing with some type of depression. Depression being something that happened in the past, still having an effect on you today. That's harm. And many of us deal with harm from people that never should have harmed us. We deal with harm from people that we thought would always be there to protect us, always be there to have our backs, always be there to uplift us, because that's what they said they would do. They said they loved us. They said they would never do anything to harm us. For some of us, it's a parent. For some of us, it's a family member outside of parenthood. Some, it may even be a spouse. Either way, it was a loved one, and that's how they got that close. And in some cases, that ain't even the case. We carry this baggage that we do not desire to have, and it tends to get put on you as the person who needs to just get over it. I didn't put this backpack of harm on me. Why do I have to get over it, is what you may be thinking. When the truth of the matter is, I'm gonna tell you something you may not know. When it comes to hurt is a prerequisite for intimate relationships. Intimacy simply being into me, you see. we're that close. You understand me even when I say things that I don't mean. You comprehend me when I fumble over my words. You know when my mood is down and when my mood is up, and you can comprehend the things that I mean to say when I don't say them. We have that level of that connection, that intimacy. A mother does not bear a child without pain. Therefore, it hurts. A father does not discipline his child. And I'm not simply talking about punitive in the form of physical. I'm dealing with, you may say something. I know I've spoken to my kids on many occasions. I didn't raise my voice. I simply told them to sit down. And because it was the father that they have in their lives, the authority that I carry, their feelings got hurt. But that was temporary. See, when you're dealing with the hurt that is necessary for intimacy, you're dealing with somebody who has permission to help you in such a way that you may not want to be helped. If you are my friend and I have permission to hurt you, faithful are the wounds of a friend, says the word. Therefore, if I got to tell you the truth, guess what? It might not feel good. It might hurt your feelings or your ego, whatever the case. It does not feel good. But when it comes down to harm, that's a whole nother level of hurt. That is a damage that may not ever be undone. These wounds run deep. They never fully scab. They simply become a part of who you are. And that is something that I want to deal with today. Many of us have never had the actual gall to speak to the person who has harmed us. Many of us actually have found ourselves trying to protect their reputation because everyone thinks that they're something that they're not. There's an anxiety that comes about because of how you fear something may go if you do say something. There's a frustration that takes place because of the things that everybody else may say about that person or those people. And you know it's not true. If it's a parent, she's a single mother and she's doing the best that she can do, not realizing that this mother abuses the crap out of her kids. Oh, well, they make excuses for certain people. His father wasn't in his life, so you gotta be. What the flip does that have to do with that man not loving his children appropriately? He should never put his hands on them or say things like that. Whatever that is, you can fill in the blanks. See, when you damage someone, according to the actual definition of damage, you hurt them in such a way that it turns into harm. Because now this harm says that it makes the thing less useful or valuable. So when someone is damaged, they feel like they are less useful and valuable. You damage the identity of the person because of the damage, the harm that has been done to them. Some people need to go beyond apologies. They don't owe you an apology. To be honest with you, you want to be real? Listen, the word apology, it means to make a defense. I don't need you defending crap. There needs to be repentance. When you're dealing with repentance, I know some people may have a religious sense of this thing, and I don't mind that, but the truth of this is, the word repent means to change your mind. That means you no longer think or do the way that you thought or did. You don't move that way anymore. You don't consider things the same way. You change your mind. Therefore, when your mind is changed, you change your actions too. Some people need to repent based off of the actions that they have done in the past to harm somebody today. It's not love when you damaging somebody. It's not love when you're harming somebody. And it's worse whenever you never own up to it. Some people need to be confronted. And they need to be spoken to about the harm that they have done. And they don't need to keep getting the past to where people keep thinking that they're somebody that they're not. Because the monster that's in their closet, the bones in their closet, they are the monster, and they are the ones who actually walk around as the skeleton that is truly dead. Y'all fail to realize who y'all looking at. Everybody that you think is good ain't good, y'all. Everybody ain't good people. I'm just gonna be real with you. Everybody don't deserve the things that they get. I'm just gonna be real with you. Some people give people things based off of what they assume about a person without even knowing them. How can you truly know someone if you don't have an intimate relationship with them? I'm not talking about sex. I'm talking about the fact that you can look at this person and comprehend the things about them that don't nobody else know. Some people keep you at a distance. They won't let you get that close because of how damaged they are. And some people keep their distance because they know how damaging that they are. I'm not here to beat nobody up, but I honestly feel like some people need to be freed, because most people walk around with damage that has been done to them and they can't get over it because nobody is giving them permission. Nobody wants to actually acknowledge what took place in their lives. They just want to try to resolve them with some type of antidote that don't exist. Love covers a multitude of sin. That means if somebody has harmed you, love can cover it, but they need to love you first. I can forgive you all day, but if you keep doing the same crap that you did to damage me to begin with, what am I supposed to do? You tell me to move on, but how can I move on when I didn't even bring myself to the place that I'm at? It's not fair. So this is a shorter video, y'all. I just want to say, listen, you have permission to move on. You have permission to confront whoever it is. And if you can't move on and confront them because they're no longer here, listen, it doesn't matter who has said what, who has done what. People are limited to the effect that they can actually have on your life. Yeah, I said it, they're limited. Listen, ain't nobody on this earth greater than the one who created you. He didn't shortchange you. See, the life that we live when we find ourselves functioning in anxiety and overwhelm and with all that stuff that puts us in places of depression and whatnot, these feelings are very real. The moments that bring us to these breaking points are very real. This is not something to take lightly. I'm not taking anything lightly as it pertains to human emotion and the things that make us who are so fragile. We're very fragile. All it takes is one simple act called truth to break us down. I remember the day when I had found out that my father passed away. See, I heard about it, but the thing is, the moment I heard about it, it didn't register. I didn't really know what to believe or not. Personally, I thought that he was going, he'll be all right, he'll get over it. He had a little mild heart attack or something and he'll be fine, until I was driving, headed home, and my mind is, well, if it was his time, it was his time. And you know what? Whatever God said, that's, it is what it is. I can't do nothing about that. So I've convinced myself that I can handle it. I can deal with it. Yeah, I allowed myself to feel a little hurt, but I felt like I was, I get over it. Until I got that phone call. And it was his wife. And she asked me what I was doing, and I said, I'm driving home. What's going on? She said, baby, I need you to pull over. And I just paused. And I asked her the toughest question I had to ever ask anybody in my life. Is he dead? She said, yeah, baby. I shattered in a million pieces. I lost my mind in that moment. I was screaming, yelling, hollering, crying. I was broken. I was broken in a way that I had never been broken before. Because once the truth hits your ears, no matter what you have to say, guess what? It is what it is. And the truth of the matter is, no matter who you are, the purpose that God placed on your life, you can't run from it. You can try. Good luck. You can't get away from the identity that belongs to you. You're not meant to be this damaged individual for the rest of your life. Yes, I was hurt. Yes, I was broken. But the one who put me back together, put me together in such a way to where I would be even more useful to others. Yes, it damaged me for a moment. Yes, I was traumatized in that moment. Yes, I had to overcome it in that moment. And it took time. But guess what? Now I'm able to help people who have lost loved ones that matter most. See, what's bad in somebody else's eyes was made to be good by the one who created me. See, my God had my back and brought me to a place where I was even more useful and valuable to others because I can empathize. If you ain't ever been through what somebody else is going through, you might need to just shut up. I know that's a little harsh, but some of us need the harshness to get through to us. If you can't love somebody the way that they need to be loved, and you recognize that, leave them alone. Stop tormenting them. You're not helping. You're harming. And no matter who you are, the value that you entered into, value hood, by the way, the suffix hood means the state of being. You know, if you are someone who is in parenthood, you are in the state of being a parent. Motherhood, the state of being a mother. Fatherhood, the state of being a father. Adulthood, the state of being an adult. Childhood, the state, you get it. Valuehood, the state of being valuable, able to be of use. Yeah. That includes you who is still dealing with hurt and harm. That includes you. Because no matter who you are, the value that you have has nothing to do with what anybody else has done. The moment you entered into valuehood was the moment you existed in your mother's womb. You caused her to be transformed from the inside out, and you were useful in so many ways that she was never able to return back to the way that she was before she was pregnant with you. You've been useful from the moment that you were conceived, and you're still useful to this day because it ain't nothing that you did intentionally to provoke that woman to change. You don't have to be intentional about your greatness, but at the same time, if you want to operate in your identity, then you need to be intentional. And what does that mean? I hope I'm not confusing you. Listen. The way that you were created to be has nothing less of phenomenal attached to it, no matter how you feel, because feelings ain't always facts. But if you want to actually become who it is that you are meant to become, you have to stop telling yourself lies. You are valuable. You are useful. You are filled with purpose in your life. You didn't wake you up and you didn't birth you. You were born with a purpose, and every day you hear you have value assigned to your life. It's assigned to you, and can't nobody take it away from you, no matter how they make you feel. That's a hard pill to swallow when you ain't feeling that, though. Because what you're dealing with is whether you have the opportunity to correct that individual, confront that individual, or any of that. The first person you need to confront is yourself, to stop lying to you and stop allowing those people to keep you enslaved, encaged, and imprisoned in a place that you never belonged in. You are of use, and you are valuable, and you are not damaged for bad, but to be useful for somebody else's good. Don't let your hurt be in vain. It was purpose for tomorrow. Because guess what? You still here. Listen, you got this. Get focused and stay there. And do what it is you need to do, no matter how hard it is. Love y'all. Oh my goodness. Did y'all see him? He was definitely heavier. But what he was saying was just as heavy. Man, I mean, the only thing I would add to that is that it is important for you to set boundaries so that you can actually operate in the freedom that you have worked for. You're not walking around here trying to feel as if you are still stuck in a place that you don't desire to be in. But there are people who try to pull you back. Those people need to be put in their place. And that ain't got nothing to do with you. You just don't have to let them in. Some of us need to treat them like Martin used to do Pam, and kick them out. And I'm not saying this to be mean. I'm not saying cut everybody off and all that. No, sometimes the availability that you have comes with, no, it always comes with built-in boundaries. Some of us need to stop allowing people to have so much access to the conversations of the past that have nothing to do with where you are right now. You free now. You aren't where you were. You are where you are. And it is where you are that has given so many people the freedom to be freed. Why? Because you showed up. You showed up. Even though you went through all that you went through, even though you were as damaged as you were at one point, you showed up. And because you showed up, you showed them that this situation that I'm in right now, it ain't the end. And the situation I was in, clearly, that's over. Stop allowing people to enslave you and stop enslaving yourself. It's a movie I watched called Pilgrim's Progress. It was the animated version. And there was a scene where this man was in this cage, rattling the cage, saying, "No hope, no hope." And then the man that was being showed, this individual in this cage, he asked, why doesn't he just let himself free? And the response to him was, why don't you ask him yourself? Well, this man didn't realize that that was him in the future if he did not have exactly what it was that he had been gifted with. And that was hope. See, when you forget that you have hope, then you forget that you have freedom. And if you forget you have freedom, you will function in the chaos that situation allowed you to be in temporarily. The harmony that you were pulled into after going through all that you went through, sometimes it's forgotten. Sometimes we forget that we've outlasted and overcome the things that we've already outlasted and overcome. And if you forget that there is hope for tomorrow, you forget that you are here right now in context of where you've been in the past. The man didn't realize the cage was open. The man didn't realize that he had the keys the whole time. Well, some of us need to allow ourselves to use what we have been given to free ourselves from that which we are no longer in bondage to. You are no longer enslaved to the cage of those days where you were put in the position to be functioning as a slave. A slave to what? Your emotions and somebody else's opinions, somebody else's assumptions, somebody else's beliefs about you has nothing to do with who you are right now. Where you've been has scars attached to them, not wounds. So if you show up now, that means that somebody else's wounds can be healed because you've revealed your scars, and it's freedom in that. But when we allow people to cause us to question our own identities and to question that whether we're good enough or not, whether we're capable of enough or not, if we allow people outside of ourselves to cause us to contradict who we are, then what we have done is we have allowed somebody else's attempt to harm us and damage us, to take us back to where we don't belong. There is freedom in the boundaries that you set, because inside of those boundaries are where you get to roam. There's freedom in you not allowing someone to actually pull you back to where you were, because that's not where you are. If anything, they would be kidnapping you at that point. Stop allowing people to kidnap you and take you to places that you do not want to be, because you don't have to be. Stop allowing yourself to go backwards. Only move forward. Yeah, you made mistakes. Yeah, you still here. Yeah, it hurt. Yeah, you still here. Yeah, it still causes you a little bit of here and there, pain there and whatnot, but you know what to do now. You're not lost anymore. You have access to people who can help you to resolve those situations. Matter of fact, many of them have already been resolved. You just have to accept it. Accept that you are not there anymore. You are here. And the freedom that was allotted to you is still there. I like how one of the things I said was there are people who people call good people and whatnot, not knowing that they ain't who they think they are. The thing is, you still here in context of that person being where they were and where they are. That means you have power, family. You have power. Why? Because of your past. See, the power, ability, skill, and the time that you have endured to become who it is you are has been the gift that needed to be given to you so that you can show up with so many more gifts and fruit for somebody else outside of yourself. You went through what you went through so that you can be even more useful and fruitful. Is it fair? I don't know. All I know is we should not complain about the value that we have to offer, especially when we are still here with it. Don't complain about the value that you have, and don't complain about the value that you become. You've been valuable since the moment you existed, and here you are still valuable, even though there are some things that would say otherwise in your mind. But clearly, because you're still here, because you're still useful, because you're still fruitful, because you're still capable of changing and transforming the lives of others just by telling them your story, possibly, that right there is evidence that God used that situation of the past to produce what he already put inside of you to be useful right now. Right now. So I'm saying all that to say this. You got this, fam. You got this. Just stay focused and don't allow anybody to enslave and ensnare you where you do not belong. You do not have to allow yourself to be taken captive to a place of thought that does not serve you. Instead, you have the power to change your mind and embrace the gift of time that went by for you to continue to be as fruitful and useful as you were meant to be. You got this, fam. Set those boundaries. If you need help with boundaries, I definitely know I can help you. Because when it comes down to your time, that is exactly where you're going to be able to set those boundaries. But that's for another discussion and another day. Listen, stay focused. You got this. Much love.